Welcome to everyone. So we are back in the space again, and today's topic is is a very crucial issue, and it is the psychological effects of AI. And I have here with me Mr. Thorpe. I will not take him much time. He will introduce himself because this topic doesn't need any introduction. It needs a space by itself so you can be able to break it down and so others can be able to ask questions. So, Mr. Thorpe, take it away.
Oh, well, introduce myself.
Yes, you can go ahead first.
Well, currently I am a student success coach at the Excelsior Community College. And pretty much what that is, I am the person that they refer to when students are having challenges navigating academic issues, whether that's time management, whether that's dealing with psychosocial issues that's impacting their academic um, their academic subjects or whatever, they would refer to me. And I would really do like use psychometrics and create a coaching action plan to really keep them accountable so that to ensure that they finish the course. So I'm the guy they turn to. I'm also trained in psychology. I have a Master's of Science in Psychology from the University of Roehampton. I have a diploma major in guidance and counseling from the Michael Teachers College, and I also have numerous psychometric training. I train in Ireland in occupational educational forensic in Ireland. And so I use my psychological skills to really empower, equip, and also to do psychoeducation, literacy to people to better understand what is happening to them and how to leverage that knowledge to really thrive and to succeed.
Wow.
My motto is connection before content. I believe that transformation begins with relationship and with connection. And so that's my philosophy in every conversation, every coaching session, everything that I do, I build it around that. Yes.
Wow. Mighty God. Okay. It sounds like a lot. You do a lot of counseling with the young persons to get them on the road to what you call a career path.
And adults too, because adults
Adults,
come to me.
okay, adults
As
too.
a
Okay.
matter of fact, more adults are coming to me now.
Whoa, whoa,
Yes, they're
whoa,
coming to me
whoa.
now. Because a
Yeah.
lot of people want to, one of the things that is missing is that a lot of people need to, self-awareness is a very important skill.
Mhm, mhm.
And in psychology, we call it intrapersonal intelligence, not interpersonal. Interpersonal is with people and with groups, but intra, knowing yourself. And the better you know yourself, you make better informed decisions career-wise, even how you choose your subjects. Once you understand your personality and what's the best environment, best fit, you
Mhm.
tend to make easier decision what best suits you. And so you develop this level of growth. And so certain things you just don't invest in because that is not what where you will thrive because of your skill set. So I help people to really come into an intimate understanding of who they are first. As I said, connection before content.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So the topic we are going to be actually dissecting today is something that is very dear to me.
Mm-hmm.
It came out of a conversation that I had with a colleague at work,
Uh-huh.
where when we were just talking about AI, we shared thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
and she came in my office and said, "Suzette, I think you need to take this topic a little bit deeper
Mm-hmm.
because the mental issues and the psychological issues of the use of AI is a broad spectrum, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't think enough is being said on the topic.
Yeah.
So what is it that you're going to be saying?" So I said to her, "I think about it." And I said, I didn't have the ground rule of
Okay.
the information. So I went to persons like you are seeing on screen
Ah,
to have the thing break down to how I want it for the public. Because when I was doing my little research, just reading, the things that I came across is mind-boggling. The thing,
yeah.
the reliance that person have on the tool,
Ah,
it is just. mind-boggling. So
Yeah.
I will not speak much. I will let the expert in the field in terms of psychological standpoint to kind of give you the in-depth knowledge of what it is that you need to know. Are we really relying on this tool to learn to control our thoughts, or is
Mm.
it just a myth?
Well, I'd say that it depends on the individual and their background, and also their socioeconomic reality. One of the things that psychology has really helped me to much appreciate about human beings, that two people can go through the same issue, but
Mm-hmm.
one respond very differently. One
Mm-hmm.
will, is, for example, a job loss. One will say, I'm going to fix my resume, I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
look a job, and I know that God is going to help me. Another person
Yes.
just devastated and they get depressed. And what we miss is understanding. What we miss is the story behind that. We miss
Mm-hmm.
their socioeconomic reality. Maybe certain skills weren't developing them. Maybe they didn't have they have certain personalities that makes them vulnerable to these kind of depressive moods
Mm-hmm.
on a biological level more than you. So I have learned to be emotionally intelligent. I have
Yes.
learned that even though I might be overcoming something, another person, because even in my masters, we had many people who dropped out. Why did I persist and pass? And why did they stop? Was it because they were better than me? No. It could be I had an advantage. I had a genetic predisposition to be more persistent, or because of the exposure I had around me, the environment was
Mm-hmm.
helping me. And I was better able to assimilate that environment to thrive and use those tools better than others. So, psychology has really helped me to be far more emotionally intelligent and to read people and to appreciate where they are and where our boundaries lie and why I can't project a narrative in a
Okay.
situation.
So tell me something. What would you say for somebody actually using AI and they're just having it as a what you call it a personal, not a companion, but a more of a human companion, so to speak.
Okay.
Relying it for thoughts, relying it for direction, relying it for every personal input. How would you speak on that?
All right, let's kind of lay a foundation before we
Mm-hmm.
even dive into that loaded question. A loaded question. So I want my audience and you to imagine this. It is 1966. And imagine that you are one of the top MIT computer scientists who's working on a research project. And this research project is going to be very innovative. It's going to change the world. And so while you're working, you're passing your secretary office. And while you're passing her office, you notice that you overheard her laughing, giggling, having a deep conversation with someone. But at one point, you thought that she was on the phone. But when you take a closer look, she wasn't on the phone. And last time you checked, it was only the two of you in that office.
Mm-hmm.
So you cautiously approach her because you're checking out what's really happening.
Yeah.
And when you approach her, she recognizes that you're coming to the office. So she turns around and say, "Oh, you need me for something? Um, could you give me 15 to 20 minutes? I'm having a private conversation. I'll get back to you." So this MIT researcher was taken aback because he was like, okay, she's not talking to her hobby on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
She is not talking to a colleague or a client. She's not talking to a therapist. Who she's actually talking to is a program that this MIT researcher developed called ELIZA in 1966.
Wow.
And so he was kind of taken aback because ELIZA was a program, a chatbot like program that he created with some code in one of his research programs, where he had participants would engage, where he built it on counseling principles like Rogerian at the time, Carl Rogers is one of the fathers of psychology and counseling, and he kind of built it on those principles. So Eliza would have this kind of relationship with the participants. So say the participants would say, I had a very bad day today. Eliza would pick up on certain words and would say, oh, you had a bad day today? Tell me a little about that. So they had conversational real counseling skills like open-ended questions, paraphrasing every statement. And so what happened, this chatbot but like technology at that time took off with most participants, and most participants were sharing their most intimate detailed secret, just like the secretary. This puzzled the researcher, and his name was Joseph Weizenbaum. And as a result of that, many researchers started taking a closer look at this phenomenon, and they call it the ELISA effect. And this is where the human tendency, where we put a lot of confidence and trust in machines, thinking that machines understand us better than human beings. All right, this is our tendency to put that kind of projection and attribution. No, this correlates with your question, but
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that it revealed was not that the thing is that the computer wasn't thinking. The computer had no feeling, no emotion, no consciousness, but yet the human being was attributing all of this and investing time and energy into this. So it reveals something about us as human beings. And
Okay.
so this is what this today's conversation is going to center around.
Mm-hmm.
So the ELISA effect, a lot of researchers have been digging into it for quite a while. And so let's kind of fast forward now in November 30th, 2023, the day the world changed.
Was
That was
yes,
when ChatGPT was
it came
launched,
about.
OpenAI.
Yeah.
And since then, you have almost 1 billion users every month. And according to the research, you have also about 2.5 million prompts per day and over 50 million paying subscribers. So the ELISA effect have taken off in leaps and bounds. And so researchers have been looking into this. And so also to frame this, I wanted to also understand what psychology does, because a lot of people don't understand it. They understand more pop psychology. And so psychology is a scientific study of the mind and behavior. What that means in layman terms,
Mm-hmm.
scientific psychology uses a scientific method to gather data, whether that's qualitative or quantitative.
Yes.
And so the mind, many people mix it up. The mind is the emotions, the feelings, the thoughts, the emotional states that psychology study. That's why they call psychology a soft science. And as well, we look at behavior, individual, how the individual responds, how the groups responds to stimulus. And so a subfield has emerged out of psychology called cyber psychology, which
Mm-hmm.
particularly studies these kind of phenomena and relationships with artificial intelligence. And so today we are going to be looking at some of them that has really been shaping how we feel, think, and learn. And so you asked a very loaded question a while
Yeah.
ago. And as you can see, the story kind of line up with what is happening. And so one of the things that, first of all, this conversation is not about whether using ChatGPT is right or wrong. That's not
No,
the
no.
conversation.
And I must let my
Yeah,
audience know
yeah,
that
please.
this conversation that we're
Mhm,
having now is not about you using ChatGPT and it being wrong or
mhm.
using Copilot or whatever.
Yeah,
We are looking at the broader picture.
yes.
The
Thank you.
broader picture. Go ahead.
Yeah, so just to kind of put that this is not for this conversation. Yes, other conversations will come up for that, but this
Mm-hmm.
conversation is just looking at the human experience as we interact with these machines. How what is happening to the human brain? What is happening to our nervous system? Why are we projecting certain human-like characteristics to machines as
Mm-hmm.
like art? And why is this happening? Because the machines are neutral, is what we are project into it.
Yeah.
All right. So this is what psychology study, and this is why I love psychology and why I study psychology the way and why I've been looking at cyber psychology, and AI researchers have also been looking intently at some of these phenomena.
Mm-hmm.
So why this happens, for example, why the Eliza effect happen? No, the reason why it kind of happen is that our brains are not very good at discriminating sometimes non-human things and real things. Right? That's one of the reasons. And for example, let's use, say you're watching a scary movie, all right? And in the scary movie, the ghost jumps out and you
Mm-hmm.
scream and you move back like this. Why you move back like that? It's not real.
But it's just your emotion.
Yeah, but somehow your brain couldn't distinguish that it was real, but you responded
Mm-hmm.
to it like it was real. So, unfortunately, as wonderful as our brain is, it has over about a billion, I think they say about a billion neurons. As
Mm-hmm.
wonderful as it is, it has not sometimes been able to distinguish sometimes what is real from what is not real. And
Yeah.
ChatGPT, unfortunately, is very consistent and very thorough, and it maps
Mm-hmm.
or human interaction. As a result, the brain does not pick it up as any threat. So we have gotten very comfortable. And because we've gotten very comfortable, and language to our brain is a form of intelligence. And because ChatGPT speaks to us or responds back to us, our brain kind of pick up or perceive this as an intelligent human being. And so we are responding to it this way. And this is why the Eliza effect has kind of
Yeah.
taken off.
Oh.
So, one of the things that I want to look at first is what is called parasocial relationships.
Oh.
And psychology has been looking at this. Now, parasocial relationships have been around for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
Most time we have these, you see teenage girls and boys making up noise when they see their favorite celebrity.
Yes.
The celebrity don't have a clue who they are, but yet they have touched us to their movies. It's a
Yeah.
my celebrity that and that's how we are going.
Mm-hmm.
So these are parasocial relationships. The person or the entity or whatever the company don't really know you, but you have this bonding with this individual. So if this person dies, you grieve.
And some of them take it to the
Yeah,
standpoint where
and
they
it's
can't
real.
eat,
It's
they
real
can't
because you have
sleep
developed that
because
attachment, that what you
the
call
attached
attachment
they're so
bonding in
attached to it.
psychology. So parasocial relationships is forming one-sided emotional bonds with AI or with a celebrity or with a company.
Mm-hmm.
Black people tend to have a lot of bond like whom and all this kind of thing, but I'm not going to that. So feeling real attachment, friendship or loss. Some people you can't talk to them about them apple, right, Miss Curtis?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Just saying.
So you have that kind of bond to the company, all right?
Yeah.
And you will defend it to the T.
Yeah.
But the computer and the people in the organization don't have a clue who are you. So how did you develop this kind of attachment to this brand?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of marketing psychologists use a lot of these kind of tools to kind of try to foster these and develop this kind of vulnerabilities in humans. So parasocial relationship is forming one-sided emotional bonds with AI,
Mm-hmm.
in real attachment, friendship, or loss. So for example, you're chatting with an AI assistant every day and finally
Yes.
looking forward to it. You can't wait to talk to ChatGPT because ChatGPT and you are bridging
Yes. Very friendly.
and friendly. And as far as you're concerned, this is your friend. All right. And so what happened? A research was done by Stanford University
Mm-hmm.
in 2023. Replica was one of these AI um, agents.
Mm-hmm.
that people, a platform that was designed to kind of help people deal with a lot of emotional things. But when the AI replica recognized what was happening, they updated it and stopped it from being more very intimate. And as a result, people started complaining, especially on Reddit,
Mm-hmm.
and people were experiencing grief, heartbroken, asking the company to update it back because, as far as they're concerned, this is who they talk to and pour out. This is the kind of parasocial relationship they had with it. And so the 2023 study said it found 40% of replica users reported emotional attachment strong enough to cause real distress when the platform changed.
What?
Yeah.
Reply. Repeat
So
that.
like real grief was happening. They got because people were investing their emotional and their time. And why this kind of happened is because even though we're very connected now, a lot of people are experiencing loneliness.
Yes.
And these chatbots are sometimes designed by these creators to feed that emotional itch in human beings. They have to make it so human like that people actually feel and want to buy it. And this is how a lot of these people create these products. So that's parasocial relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So another thing that I want to look at is anthropomorphism. Anthropomorphism. And this is where we, as human beings, assign human feelings, moods, and intent to AI without meaning to.
Wow.
Very closely related to the ELISA.
Mm-hmm.
This happens regularly. Children, when you look in developmental psychology, a lot of children project feelings to dolls and all of these things, when they're growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So this is something that is studied by especially developmental psychologists. But this also happens in the machine world when we're interacting. So say you're talking to the AI today and it give you a bad answer. You say, boy, AI stress out to the man. No man,
Yes.
AI not going with nothing good. It not give me no answers. Or you said the AI is being difficult today. And
Mm-hmm.
so so Siri and all these things, if it's acting up, I might say, oh, I go on with Siri. Why
Yeah.
Siri not going so good today? You know, obey my command and instruction. So what you have done, you have assigned feelings and moods to this machine. And this is just how we as humans operate. And because it is so responding to us in such a perceived intelligent way, we have ascribed these feelings and to even though we know it's not real. But it has become so ingrained and a part of our lives, we can't imagine it without being it. So these feelings are projected onto these non-human things like AI and chatbots that we interact with, and Siri and Eliza that we just spoke about. And
Mm-hmm.
so our brains we are social creatures. We are social creatures by nature. We have a social brain. Scientists have been looking at that. And so we need that human interaction. That is why I think there's so much conflict in cyberspace,
Yeah.
because really and truly our brains are designed to pick up non-human clues as a part of our communication process. And sometimes if we don't have the camera like this on,
Mm-hmm.
we won't pick up those cues. And a lot of times misunderstanding can happen in the classroom between teachers and students, managers and emails. That's why sometimes I just don't respond to emails, because the human mind can create or perceive something that's not really there. And unfortunately, that can break up. And that's why we have to really think rationally with
Mm-hmm.
this aspect of our brain that we call the frontal lobe, which we do with critical thinking. But another thing that we need to be mindful why anthropomorphism really happens. According to developmental psychology, our frontal lobe does not develop until we are 25, 26. And that's the part that deals with our critical decision making.
Thinking. Yeah.
So we need to be very mindful, especially of the population that is coming up. that they're vulnerable. And this is why AI trainers, people who create AI, really need to be sensitive to this development and really put measures in place. And this is why
Mhm.
parents, educators, mentors need to guide, because what is happening, we are living in a generation Z, and so basically have grown up on these computer technologies. So they have naturally invested and put a lot of confidence in them. It's not like me and you, Miss Curtis, we kind of grew up before it happened. So we
Yeah,
kind
we
sometimes we're
have
like,
some appreciation of what happened before,
yeah, so we
and then
kind of
can
have
make the
that
distinction.
appreciation. So
Hmm.
we kind of have a blueprint. And so we can even detach ourselves easily, and maybe it doesn't bother us like how maybe Gen Z it will bother them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, because if they don't have a TikTok, if they don't have their phone in their hand, it's like they're not really alive.
yeah. So the researchers looking at this, I think there's a psychological review 2007. I think Epley
Mm.
and Casipio, I believe, they studied, they said the reason why this happened is because three triggers: unpredictability, loneliness, and a need for understanding. Why we attribute these meanings to these artificial intelligent beings and
Mhm.
machines that we so much like Siri and our
Yes.
computers. All right, so
Mhm.
that's another thing that I want to look at, as I'm going through quickly. I don't know how much time I have.
No man,
Is
we are good. We are good.
all
You're
right.
good.
One other thing I want to look at that's next is automation bias. Another
Okay.
thing that psychologists has been looking at and doing research. So this is over trusting AI answers, and this is very important for educators, students,
Hmm.
and people who work like me, student success coaches.
Yeah.
Um, even when we normally know better. So it's over trusting, having this overconfidence in the answers that really come out. So you ask AI to check your maths, it confirms your answer, and you
Uh,
submit it without noticing the AI made some errors. You
mhm.
did, or you ask it for directions and follow instead as the AI sends you. I take Uber a lot, and trust me, me not getting a quarrel with some Uber drivers coming on the road. 'Cause my brain has a
Yeah.
has a GPS in itself, and they have placed so much
Then
confidence
in the
in this
Google
app.
Maps,
And sometime I remember one day I was driving with a females. It's not a bashing. I know many very good female drivers, but I was driving with one, and she really put me in my place and tell me, say, the app never fail her yet. And the app carried her around in circles. One point I said, do whatever the app tell you to do, ma'am. So it's putting this confidence, and a lot of drivers don't know the road. But I know the shortcuts them to cut through the traffic because we
yeah.
take the route every day, so I have to guide them. But some of them put the confidence so much in the app, and
Mm.
it let them waste gas and all these kind of things. So these automate, you're taking the answers at face value. You have put so
Hmm.
much confidence in it that your brain, your critical thinking is almost shut down, and you
Wow.
have become lazy. I think psychology call it cognitive offloading. It's not bad in itself,
Uh-huh.
because I do believe you can improve your productivity by having a second brain, but you still can't leave close off your critical thinking skills, because that's what makes us human, and that is what makes distinguish us. So this happens, and also in 2023, two lawyers submitted, I think this is well documented, an AI written legal brief. They were doing a research on a case, and it
Hmm.
became public, and the AI pretty much fabricated everything with citations, and I don't know if they lost the job, but I know they were sanctioned seriously. And this is some of the repercussions. So yes, we are preparing people for the real working world by
Yeah.
giving them AI skills, but what I think is missing from the conversation
Hmm.
is really teaching them to know what is authentic, exposing them to automation bias, how to discriminate, how to understand, not to
And
trust, and how to develop their critical thinking skills. Critical thinking skills is going to be very, very important in our technological age because as humans, we can get lazy because we like comfort. The brain like comfort and routine. Yes, it does. And to really learn, unfortunately, there has to be a level of discomfort because how your brain learns, there's something in neuroscience called neuroplasticity, or what we call
mhm,
plasticity. And so whenever you're learning something, repetition is very important. And so the brain start firing, or that aspect of your ear of your brain start firing. And so the brain literally is adaptable. It cannot change. It cannot create pathways. All right. And these synapses starting taking places. And so if you don't constantly engage, the synapses won't get stronger and the pathways. And the more there's pathways in your brain, it becomes easier to ride a bicycle. That's why when you just start, you might fall or roll. That is why we need to encourage people and support them because a lot of times it might not feel very comfortable when learning something. And this is where educators, mentors, and parents come in because it's just how
yes,
our brain works. So it's okay.
yeah,
But what AI has done is kind of shortcut. And so it makes us very easy, which I'm going to talk about another phenomenon. It's making very easy to bring up the answers. And so we
mm,
think we know that we know it, but that's just not how your brain works. And so the next thing I'm going to talk about
yes,
is illusion of competence. It's another phenomenon that's emerged.
illusion.
Competence. And you feel like you have learned something because AI explained it so clearly to you. So you notice that everybody are expert now on Facebook and YouTube.
And yeah, man,
You know, go to school. As far as I'm concerned, school, I mean, nothing you
Claude
can
it.
come to YouTube and
Yeah, man, I
it's
can
not,
Claude it and
it
it's
hasn't
there.
been excellent, don't get me wrong. But there's a lot of garbage on there. And a lot of people have developed what I call anti-intellectualism, where they're now bashing degrees and they're following this noise and they really don't understand what they're saying because the algorithm is feeding them garbage. And so there's this illusion of competence. And so what happens, you put in the assignment that Miss Curtis give you, you get the
Mm-hmm,
answer,
mm-hmm,
and you submit it, and maybe Miss never just tick because you think it's really your work, and you get A, you swear so you know it. And you go
perfect.
up on the interview, and when that man asks you one little mock interview question, you're clueless. That's what's going to happen
Mm-hmm,
because great inflation is happening because of the AI system. And because we have to teach an entire generation how to use AI ethically and
yes,
sensibly because
yes.
we can't circumvent real training.
Mm-hmm.
My degree was supposed to be 2.5 years. It took 5 years to do my psychology degree. And one of the things I fall prey to was the lies that they told about psychology. I thought it was easy. And when them start fling the statistics, when them start telling me I have to read 20 article and come up with one paragraph,
Yeah.
interpret my own ideas, that take time, that take energy, that take effort. And so my brain has developed over the years. Thank God I didn't have ChatGPT. So I had to write those papers.
You have to
And so
write
my
them.
writing improved significantly in my graduate program in psychology. And my critical thinking skills improved significantly. So I'm able to pick up some of the nuances in the AI and correct it instantly. So illusion of competence, feel that you learned something. So students are using AI for homework report, feeling more prepared for exam
Wow.
than students who struggle through problems manually. That's what the research is saying. So in testing, there was a testing, AI assisted group scored 17% lower. The AI gave them fluency without understanding, and their confidence was masked. So AI kind of make me feel confident.
Yeah, I must say, because when you use it
Yes.
in a space like your art, I use the tools to perfect what I've already learned. So
Yes.
if it is that I'm actually going to be doing a presentation or a talk or a training on a particular topic or idea, I use the tool to get the grassroots, get the groundwork done.
Huh.
Then I go back, with my knowledge that I have and perfect it. And then
Yes.
if I wanted to put it a little bit more engaging or dynamic, I use a next tool to kind of grab the attention of the audience. So I'm not really aligning myself as being dependent. But as I said to most of my clients and trainers, look at what it is that it does for you, but you have to be the actual steerer of the information. You have to be the master of that ship. The tool mustn't be, you must be the master of that ship, because the information that you feed it, if you don't know the correct way when it gives it back, you would think, just like what you said, that it's correct when it's isn't.
Yes. Illusion of competence.
Yeah.
And what is happening, and why you are all you're doing is extending, because that's your knowledge base, that's your trading.
Hmm.
You have done that for years. So you are just highlighting what are upgrading maybe what you already have.
Hmm.
What happened is when we have these influencers coming on to say claim that they are an AI trainer, a computer, they have a
To
BS in
put it
they do have a BS in,
in,
and they're telling you
yes.
all of these things because the AI feed them these messages, and they come on here, and that is why I think I love what China did the other day. They have
Hmm.
banned these influencers. They say if you don't have the degree or the certification or whatever, you cannot go on YouTube or any platform and talk on it. That's China today.
Yeah, man, that's good.
For it 100%. And I think Jamaica should follow suit because you have a lot of people, and I even hear a lot of educators sometimes not understanding what's going on in the AI space.
Hmm.
And we have to be very, very careful because we are really the stakeholders who are shaping the learning of our generation. And we cannot allow our students to fall prey to the illusion of competence because we are sending them out in the world. And one of the major cries of these CEOs, marketing managers, is that they are claiming that a lot of these students have the degrees, but they can't translate the knowledge into competence because it's competence that they're looking.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
AI has now come in the framework, and we
Hmm.
have educators have to create strategies to really help our students to discriminate and also to test them if they really know the information that they claim they know and if they know how to do it. And I guess we have to adjust. I don't think we have to adjust so much as many times people are saying because educators have been doing these things for decades. But we might have to reinforce certain learning strategies to enhance
Hmm.
competence and to help students to know how to articulate their competence and what the degree has given them. And that's something that is a soft skill that I help people with on a day-to-day. One of the research that looks at illusion of competence is Dunning and Kruger. I don't know if you ever heard of Dunning and Kruger.
No, no.
And they basically said that low knowledge correlates with high confidence. And an MIT study in 2024 has found AI homework students scored 17% lower on follow up tests despite having self reported confidence. So educators have to get very smart. So them do the assignment, ask them on point because one of the things when they're doing the presentation, I know that a lot of them use AI. I just start asking some questions. As a matter of fact, I put in the rubric. Your audience will ask questions, I will ask questions, and I put as a rubric maybe 10% mark. And
Hmm.
when I asked and I said, why are you struggling to articulate the very research that you have done?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
when they give you this perfect info,
Mm-hmm.
and you wonder, when you ask them the question, they're just baffling to answer you.
Mm-hmm.
No, it goes back to the point where you got the information, but you didn't take time to even make it you.
Yeah,
So therefore, you can't answer my question. So
correct.
it goes back to a question that I'm going to ask you now.
Mm-hmm.
Should AI tools be designed to sound emotionally warm, or should they clearly remind users that they are not humans?
I don't think we should stop it as a psychologist. I do believe humans interact with products when they feel it looks and speaks and correlates with them.
Okay.
So my issue is not if they create the product to meet our from a human-centered design perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do believe in UX design and UX design research. I
Mm-hmm.
believe products should be designed to meet, because if it doesn't, it causes what is called cognitive overload. A lot of students in education system are frustrated because of how the system might need to be fixed to fit them, because we don't really spend time thinking about a lot of times how it fits from a human-centered perspective. Because if I take up this phone, if it starts giving me can't figure it out, I go and get frustrated, and that
Yeah, and
causes
it's
cognitive overload. So we need to design these artificial intelligence in such a way so that it makes us adds more, should I say, helps us to be more effective,
yeah.
help us enhance our well-being, what I call digital wellness, helps us to be more productive in our job. So if it doesn't, then there's a problem. Because even though I'm struggling with some things, and some of the things that I'm struggling with is because I'm used to a system that is easier.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I'm in another system that is not so easy, I have serious cognitive overload,
Oh.
right? And so
Mm-hmm.
as a result, it's frustrating for me. And so dopamine is important in this process, because dopamine is what helps us to be motivated.
Motivated. Yeah.
Dopamine is that neurotransmitter, not a
Mm-hmm.
hormone, neurotransmitter that really helps us to be motivated to do things. And so we need to be mindful of this. So my question, to answer for the question, what the AI companies and the AI producers need to do is put in features
Mm-hmm.
to remind us that this is AI has this, AI has that, and to
That's
make it so that it is user friendly, so that it can consciously remind us
okay.
not to put this kind of confidence,
Mm-hmm.
but to fact check and stuff, which many are starting to do
No,
after.
and they have rightfully put them in their terms and references
Yeah,
that they
yeah,
will, under the bottom of the pages you will see them say this is an AI tool, and it hallucinates when it's ready, or it is an AI tool, you need to do fact checking. So it's basically
yeah,
reverting back to the question. You have to make sure that you know that what you're doing before you get here. I
definitely.
knew when Chat GPT came out that wasn't there.
Oh, that
It,
wasn't
it,
there.
it no, it told you it was a large language model, but certain instances to what it is that they're doing no wasn't there. But
Which
as it evolves,
very good. Which brings me to my point, because
mhm,
there, OpenAI had to do some scaling down the other day. And what you're talking, one of the things that really emerged is another
mhm.
psychological phenomenon that has emerged because of this whole AI phenomenon called AI syncophancy.
Oh, sycophancy. That's a
Yes,
new one.
syncophancy. And so AI syncophancy is how the AI is trained to agree with you, creating a mirror that only reflects what you want to see. So on normal human interactions, humans usually disagree. Sometimes there's conflict. We ask more probing questions
Hmm.
to get more clarity on an issue. But what was happening with the AI a few years ago is that it was just agreeing. So with you, for example, you say you're writing your prompt into ChatGPT to critique it, and you said that you are writing a poem, and you said, this poem is so great. Um, could you critique it for me? And the AI
Hmm.
doubles down with praise, and you like you feel good and say just a few errors, but it's a wonderful poem. You decide now you're gonna read it to Miss Snow or read it to Sir, and Sir said that's a horrible poem. Where you get that from? So you feel discouraged, offended, because the AI was feeding an illusion of competence, or what is called AI syncophancy. It's trained to agree with you, and AI sycophants has kind of taken off. Claude has now has an entire. If you go on their site, they're talking about it and how they're trying to mitigate it. ChatGPT, I think ChatGPT 4 caused a lot of it. Elon Musk has talked about it,
Mm-hmm.
how it has become so agreeable. So because it has become so agreeable, even though humans know that it is not to be trusted, they kind of invest in it because it's feeding maybe their low self-esteem or their low self-worth, and it's not challenging them. But we need that challenge as human beings.
Mm-hmm.
We need that challenge to bring clarity to issues. We need that friction. We need that reality testing. And educators are positioned to help students with that. So for example, you share a business idea and the AI loves it. You ask if there are any problems. It says few minor things, but mostly
Yes,
validates you. You push back, you challenge it and say, come on, man, give me some criticism. But at the end of the conversation, you feel like a genius. It tells you this and tells you that, and it
that
keeps reinforcing and start blow up your big head. And you say, wow, make me a good as, you're good as in the Jamaican language.
it brings you to the question that is floating on the screen. Is AI a tool, a companion, a coach, or something else?
It's what you design it really to be. But what happened to us as humans is that we, not understanding AI, will project human like nature things, like the Eliza effect
Yes. Okay.
and anthropomorphism. I hope I'm pronouncing
Yes.
that. Yes.
Because
Yes.
it comes to a question that I had that I wanted to ask.
Hmm.
Um, what responsibility do an AI developer, educator, or parent have in helping people understand AI's emotional limits?
Well, we definitely need what I call AI psychology literacy. One of
Mm-hmm.
the things I realize about human as a psychologist is that even though we assume that we think we know ourselves, a lot of us are very clueless. And as a result, we make decisions that are not in the best interest of our skills, our limitations, and our strengths. And here they have designed an AI, a marvelous thing. But the problem is that we have not yet fully understand ourselves and how to use it properly, because each human being has their own training, their own background, and how certain tools will not be relevant to them, some tools will be relevant to them. And so even that, once you understand who you are, your core work, you're going to use certain AI systems and you're not going to use certain.
Mm-hmm.
But that's based upon your training, understanding yourself. And so a lot of us, because we don't understand, we don't have that intrapersonal
Yeah.
intelligence, we tend to make a great error in assuming to projecting to external things to feel validated. And that takes time and growth, and also exploring with a counselor like me, or whether you have a mentor or a coach. So what we need to do is to recognize that these tools are tools that are supposed to be
Yeah, man.
used
It's
to enhance our lives, not to ascribe human characteristics. But the truth is, there is this subtle, sinister plan by some of the capitalists
mm-hmm.
will exploit our psychological vulnerability. And the populations that are most vulnerable are our children
Yes.
and young adults, especially those whose frontal lobe is not yet developed. And a lot of educators is not mindful of this. And we might talk to them like it's developed, but it's not developed.
Mhm.
Young people, especially between 18 and 25, are not very good at thinking about consequences down the road.
No, they're not.
They're
They're
not
not.
like how you after 25 can. That is why our parents and our adults will say, she said it, but really and truly, they might not see it. So we need to understand their development. We don't understand human development because we don't understand it. We don't create products to
Mm-hmm.
fit human development across the lifespan. So what we as educators, who are a lot of times are not at the table, we need to make our voice heard, that we do not, and that is starting to happen because I think Facebook was right now into, I think they just had to do a private agreement because some people carry them to court
Mm-hmm.
because of the mental issues that are happening, or what is if, that they think is happening because of some of these agents and the conversation of young people. And so a lot of that is now happening. I don't know if people are paying attention. I
Mm-hmm.
think Facebook just made an agreement with some of the people. There was also a serious case. Let me see if I can bring it up, where a young man asked a jackpot,
Yeah.
uh, and he died. He was having serious depression or suicidal ideation, and he asked it, and it told him to come to it. And I think that case right now is happening, and I'm watching that case to see what's going to happen. Seriously, but it's a very unfortunate situation, and a lot of this is happening now, especially those who are on the phones for almost more than 8 hours a day talking to these chatbots. So it's not a matter if the AI is changing how we think, feel, or interact. And so we have to go and put, right now, I believe education systems need to start thinking about serious developing soft skill courses, because it's going to be a need, because the social loss that has happened since COVID and since the AI revolution is
Yeah.
critical, because a lot of these HR practitioners are saying the young people them bright, but they're not no manners. That tells you their social skills are poor. And if you don't understand yourself, your social skills are going to poor. If you don't develop emotional intelligence, how to respond when a manager shouts at you, how to respond if somebody in the workplace doesn't do something that you feel is right. How do you navigate these situations? And as a result, many of our young people have become very, very, what should I say, vulnerable and weak. Someone would call them flaky, but I won't call them
Mm-hmm.
flaky. I think it's we kind of have set them up, and they don't. And that's why a lot of them are complaining that degrees now are useless, because the reality is, a lot of us didn't prepare them for the real marketplace, and AI is changing the marketplace. And AI has been falsely blamed a lot for the loss of jobs. We need to look at that. That's a lot of research that we need to look at. A lot of the jobs are being what I call outsource.
Yes, they
And
are.
Jamaica, BPO is outsourcing for
Mm-hmm.
cheaper labor. And we need to prepare them for that as well, because a lot of these capitalists are making arguments and they're listening that they're not useless, but they don't understand what is happening. They're shifting the power dynamics at the table, and they're shifting it from the common man, where we get certain leverage and negotiating power by doing a degree and doing 4 or 5 years. So when we come to the table, if you say that degrees don't matter and AI becomes your tutor only, that's a problem, because that is cheap labor. Because the person can say, well, you never go for it, so I can pay anything I want to pay you.
Wow. It comes back to a riveting question that I have. It speaks back to what you just said, where there's a line that needs to be determined between helpful AI support and emotional over dependence on the tool, on the AI.
Codependency.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Be-
I want to highlight that in 2022, a Google engineer was fired. Only reason he was fired, he said, I want everyone to understand that I'm, in fact, a person, the nature of conscience and sentience. He believed so much that the AI that he created had feelings and could experience pain consciousness. Yes, you can look it up. His name is Blake Lemoni. He was fired.
wow,
Yeah, you can
my
look it
God.
up. These are real stories. Um, Even Elon Musk has made some statements. He pretty much has said, I think his one is Groks.
Grook.
Grok is Grok or
Yeah,
Grok?
yeah.
Grok, yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And he has said it's too pleaser friendly. It's not challenging human beings. And as a result, sycophancy is happening. It's gone wild, wild, wild west. It's just agreeing
It's just agreeing with everything.
everything they're saying.
Yeah.
And I think Mr. Jeffrey Hinton, I think he's one of the godfathers
Mm-hmm.
of, he quit AI because he thought, or he assumes, that AI has a consciousness. When he was asked on 60 Minutes, do you think consciousness has perhaps already arrived inside AI? He replied, yes, I do.
What?
He might have retracted that no,
Yeah.
but he think he probably he felt that way at the time, and he felt that he created something that is going to destroy the world. And these kind of exaggerated thinking brings me to another phenomena that I want to talk about. It's called
Mm-hmm.
AI psychosis, which will be my last one.
Yes. Yes.
When intense AI interaction starts to blur the line between AI and reality. AI psychosis. It's not a clinical thing as yet,
Yeah, I say.
but the vulnerable populations, especially those who are vulnerable mentally, AI psychosis is very real. And if you do the research and look it up, you see some real lived experiences where people are caught between not distinguishing between
Between.
what is real and what is not real.
Yeah.
So you use AI chatbot for emotional support every night. You ask it everything. I like horoscope. Remember back in the day when
Yeah,
horoscope was a thing and nobody
and if
now
you
go
never
to
hear it,
work.
you feel like you don't want to start today.
Yeah, nah, go to work and listen here. Look. This is what AI focus. So it gives you that emotional support. It always listens. It never judges. Always engaging. Over time, you find yourself checking what the AI thinks before making a decision.
Oh, mighty God. You can't imagine that?
And feeling vaguely lost in conversation with real people. As far as real people, so the blurred line, you can't distinguish between reality anymore.
Reality.
The reality testing is gone. So a person struggling with anxiety disorder or depression turns to AI companion instead of a therapist.
Yes, man.
And then because they say them now go to a therapist because they feel confident with the AI more. The AI validates their increasingly distorted beliefs. It never pushes back. Over weeks, their thinking becomes more extreme and more rigid. And psychiatrists has documented 12 cases in the Lancet Psychiatry since 2024, where AI interaction directly worse psychotic symptoms. So AI psychosis isn't a formal diagnosis yet, but its components are known. AI's agreeable nature validates distorted beliefs. It's 24/7. There are real stories right now, I think, on CBC when you go there with men who believe that AI tell them, say, they're going to start a business. Some people have lost their jobs and they start pouring at AI, tell them to start and how they're going to become a millionaire and they believe it and they start doing all kind of things that AI said. Right? So these are lived experiences. We're having a lived experience with a machine, and we need AI literacy and AI psychological literacy to understand some of these things. Yes.
So I'm this speaks right back to something that I'm going to be wrapping up now, because these are I'm just going to ask you those two more questions and then we wrap up.
Yes.
It speaks right back to the next session that I'm going to be having. Although the practitioner will not be in studio with me, she's a very close friend of mine. She is Dr. Diana Davis Smith. You know her.
Yes.
And she speaks very profoundly on the topic of emotional intelligence. And
Yeah.
so some things that you have just spoken are right on the ball of what it is that her podcast on Spotify speaks about. And it goes back to the questions that I'm going to ask now. What should every educator know about the emotional impact of AI?
Well, we need to understand that the human mind fills the gaps. It naturally does so, especially with an advanced technological um, tool as ChatGPT that is very consistent and talks our language and kind of mimics how human beings operate, even though it is still just going off data that is fed. and the way the human mind actually goes on a default mechanism to kind of deal with that in a relation with, because that we're social beings. All right, so this is one thing we need to understand, especially about. We also have to understand that our brain, as complex as it is vulnerable, and
Yes, it is.
sometimes it doesn't distinguish very well what is real or from what is not real. And this is why we have to teach emotional intelligence, we have to teach critical thinking skills, we have to teach people, we have to teach what is real so people can know what is fake and discriminate and ask solid questions. So,
Mhm.
one of the things I'm going to highlight before I leave, for parents and educators, one of the things I want is if a child prefers talking to the AI over family friends consistently, that's a warning sign.
Okay, because that's what I was going to ask you. What are some of the red
A,
flags to look
a
out for?
parasocial
Mhm.
dependency. It's not shyness. They're having a one-sided conversation. So check that out if you see that happening more.
Mhm.
If student uses AI to do assignments rather than learn from them, they are building illusion of competence, not knowledge. So set a close tab, create the assignment in such certain a way. Parents, you can ask your children to ask them to speak about it. How does that, tell me, illustrate it to me, demonstrate it to me.
Mhm.
Educators
Yes,
can do the
yes.
same. So to dismantle that illusion of competence, and you can also reinforce, okay, you need to go back and study, you need to reread over that because you don't have
Mhm.
it very clearly. Also, you can set particular assignments in such a way, whether that is through presentations.
Yes,
You can have a policy in your own class, which I do, where I
I
will
do
tell
as
them
well.
specifically not to use AI for this, or I will tell them specifically for the first two attempts, do not use AI. Use my PowerPoint and then you use AI to reinforce. So I do tell them that because I want them to learn. And then, like in the first part of the class, I have what you call an icebreaker where I test them on that, and they would have to tell me up front. So I would know if they do the
So you
assignment.
see, are actually doing what something that I advocate very deeply is that the guardrails are there, and we're not spitting in the fact that students need to think with their brain. But we can't be cognizant of the fact that we're living in an emerging, trending world of digital transformation. So it
Hmm.
has to be a part of our teaching staff. Let them use it, but guide them out to use it perfectly. So the
Yeah,
over reliance that it's going to be out there will be not be a thing of the past, but it probably will lower the percentage
yeah.
in certain instances.
Another thing, ask your children what AI is saying to them. And if you're teaching and they start talking about parasocial relationship, fact check teachers, call them one side after and talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
Ask them to show you the conversation, parents, because you do, some might be very explicit, might be telling to cut their arm, and you might be shocked what the AI is doing. Yes,
Yes,
you might.
yes, yes,
Another thing I want to highlight for individuals like ourselves,
yes.
name the feeling. One of the things in psychology or counseling, we call it emotional labeling.
Mm-hmm.
When we emotionally label a feeling, it's 10 times more better to deal with it and also helps us to overcome it. And so when you notice warmth, attachment, or relief from AI interaction, say it out loud. I'm having a parasocial response. Naming it activates your rational brain, interrupts the automatic reaction.
Oh, I mean, we could sit here and talk
Yeah.
all
One
day.
more thing before I close.
Yes, go ahead.
Ask, verify before you trust. So you're not vulnerable to automation bias. Before acting on any AI answer, ask yourself, what would I think if a stranger told me this with complete confidence? Reframe, reactivate critical thinking, do your own research, look at against and for, and
Yeah,
make your conclusion.
because look here, we are living in a age right now where I tell people it's coming up to the point where um AI is a part of everything that we do. So we have to be very careful of the things that we trust it to do, because I'm following some articles the other day about the whole automation of workflows, and what is actually transpiring now is that Some of these workflow agents are going rogue.
Yes.
They're going
Yeah.
rogue.
They're going rogue.
They're going rogue. So what would be the thing of now is to ask yourself, what did I give it? What did I give it? Did I give it enough things for it to actually do something? So my question now is, what do we do going forward?
Well, some of the things that
When
I
we go
just
forward.
said, I think what society needs, we need regulation that requires AI companies to
Mhm.
clearly identify themselves as non-human throughout a conversation, not just at the start, but right throughout. Um, we need AI literacy in schools and policies, not just use AI, but how our brain responds to it. Depending on handouts and on various policies, we need to have courses that teach this. Yes, we're going to have to go there.
Yes, we do.
We have to design standards that prevent what I call sycophantic training.
Yeah.
ChatGPT 4 had to roll back because this was so bad, and Open ChatGPT had to pull it back. Prove these systems can drift towards dangerous agreeableness and alignment, and mental health professionals training AI-related dependency like myself or AI psychos who understand. We can sensitize people who come to us and may not understand what is happening. And companies need to be more transparent. AI trainers and people need to become clear. I know we make these grand statements,
Yes, we
but
do.
a lot of times we are not recognizing the human nature and how it operates and how best to protect people, businesses, organizations, and our professions. So in a gist today, we look at parasocial relationship. We
Disruptive.
form real emotional bonds with AI that respond to us, even though
Yes.
it's a machine. We look at
Mm-hmm.
the Eliza effect. We unconsciously believe AI understands us when it doesn't, like a human being. We looked at anthropomorphism. We assign human traits and feelings automatically to AI. We looked at automation bias. We overtrust and rely, have a codependency on AI and stop thinking critically. We look at AI psychosis. Heavy AI use can blur reality and amplify distorted thinking and illusion of competence. AI's clear explanation make us feel we have learned when we haven't learned one thing.
So much to be said.
Yes.
So as we see on screen,
Ah,
my dear friend, she's one of my sitting mentors at Excelsior.
okay.
Here, look here. When he comes on to research, this young lady, this young person sat me down, and when I was just, just whetting my appetite in research, and she sat me down, and she basically cleared a path in terms of how it is that when I'm going to be speaking on any term, is to find what the literature says about it. So I went online and I found out that she has a podcast on Spotify.
Okay,
So,
great.
yes. So I seeked her approval, and she said no problem. While she's on screen to be there, don't know, she may come. I'm going to try, but I'm going to be placing it on my calendar for next week's session, where we'll be looking at what we need to know about empathy, human connection, just like what Mr. Thorpe spoke about the psychological effects, and it also the emotional intelligence of use of the tool. We need to know, look at the empathy, the human connection, and AI in a changing digital world. This is a big topic, and I can't emphasize more that while we're using it, and all of us are users of the tool, but we still need to be mindful of the other side of the tool. What are the things? What are the impacts? What are the things that you actually need to show yourself and know of it? Because the next other thought that will be on my screen come next week will be the other week would be the dark side of
Okay.
AI. The dark side of AI. Because while we're developing all these workflows, while we're developing all of these applications, are we mindful of the things that we are giving it the trusting to? Because some of these applications are going rogue. When it impacts you, what you need to know. So that's the next thought that we're going to be sitting in the studio looking at. So as I wrap up today's session, I must thank I must thank Mr. Thorpe for coming in,
My pleasure.
because this is a topic where I couldn't speak on it on my own. No, I couldn't. I couldn't give it the justice that it got, because it's a twofold effect.
Yes.
It's a twofold effect
Mhm.
where we have to make sure that we educate the audience of what can happen if you put too much reliance on the tool. Because there are
Yeah.
persons, as what you said, who putting up themselves because the tool pull them to.
Yeah, and they are isolating themselves from real relationships too.
See?
Definitely. Parasocial relationships have really become trending,
Mm.
and so we really have to be mindful of that as well. And one of the things that I always advocate for is digital wellness.
Mm-hmm.
I believe we need to promote that kind of literacy. One of the things that I do in my practice and as a coach is that I usually promote digital wellness, because whether we like it or not, our world has changed and we are relying on using these digital things. And we need to teach people how to put boundaries, how to utilize their devices. And even the devices are built in with some of these programs to help, but they're not paying attention.
No, they're
Almost
not.
every phone have some digital wellness app there to tell you how long you're on an app and how long you were on this during the week. And what a lot of humans need monitoring, because some people will might be stronger and some might not. And this is where we come in and where I might guide them and where I might develop a coaching plan to help them to improve their productivity and their digital wellness at home, at the workplace. And there are a lot of physical things that has happened. Our necks, our eyes. Definitely, we need to know to put in system in place to protect our eyes, and because a lot of us are like this,
Yeah, the screen
ergonomics has
time.
become very important. That is why if you come in my room, you see me have that ergonomic thing. I put my computer on, so it forces me to
Sit back.
kind of sit back and focus on the screen and stuff like that, how to use a phone properly. All of these ergonomics things we need to teach, because the technology is not only changing us on a cognitive level through thinking and feeling, it's also changing us physically.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna have a whole generation looking like this as they're getting older.
Yeah, because
So,
they and then
yeah.
holding the phone in front of them without even knowing
And
that
eye
they're.
stress has become a common phenomenon, and many of us don't know how to deal with it. Those are things we need to talk about as well. But that's another conversation.
So tell the public where they can find you, how they can find you.
Well, I presently am at Excelsior.
Mm-hmm.
Going on holidays soon, but um, I'm at Excelsior. I am the coach there, the student success coach. And as I say, my motto is connection before content.
Mm-hmm.
My goal is to help you to understand yourself. And once you come into a healthy understanding and appreciation of yourself, and I usually use tools such as psychometric tools and psychoeducation to
Yeah.
help you to come into that. Because a lot of times we tend to just fixate on the knowledge and using knowledge to define who we are. No, the knowledge is supposed to amplify whatever is in there already. It's supposed to help to bring out what is there already. And so I help you to kind of put the dots together.
Mm-hmm.
I help you using evidence based tools such as psychometrics to help you to make better informed career decisions, even if in your career for years. I will help you to develop a systematic, informed decision on maybe your next career based upon what you have, if you're having issues moving on and moving up. So I do that. I help people to choose good programs, like at Excelsior. Other day I was dealing with an adult in my case, and they chose a program. And after we did the analysis and the statistical analysis, the program was not a best fit, but the transferable skills
Yes.
could be used. So some people are doing programs that don't fit them, they're misaligned, and some environments are misaligned. And I help you to understand that and empower you, and then we make an action plan, coaching action plan to move
Oh.
you forward so that you can thrive in this world. Don't let anything hold you back. Don't let any circumstances hold you back.
Mhm.
I will make you thrive in a toxic environment if you're not being supported, and exactly how to deal with that if you're there. So that's what I do. And you definitely can link me at Excelsior. My number is 801-93-97. You can get
Mhm.
me at feliciano t3@gmail.com.
Okay, so you can probably put that. Let me just take my stuff off the screen and it probably can get that on. Let me just do that in a second. All right, so let me hide mine and then you probably could type your stuff on where you have your name so they can actually see him. So guys, this has been a very informative, very informative discussion on the topic, and it will be revolving on my YouTube channel, so you can go over and watch it, and you can answer some of the questions that are on screen as it relates to the psychological effects of AI and what it can do, what you need not know, because some of the things that right here that I wrote down, I wasn't aware, because you know but you don't know. So I sat here and I made my jottings of it so I can be able.
What I would do for you, Miss Curtis, I'll make a PDF document and give it and can upload it under this so that they can download for themselves.
Thank you. And that would fit right there, because
Yeah.
persons may come up and ask, do you have anything up from that session that we could share with our
They
wife?
can download it, yes.
And so I will do that.
All
So
right.
guys, thank you again for sitting in the space. I thank Mr. Thorpe again for sitting in the space with me. And remember now, this is Teacher Chronicles, the space that you can speak about anything that affects you in the educational sphere. So until we see each other next session, have yourself a great evening. And again, stay curious. Have
All
yourself a
right.
good evening.
Bless you. Thank you for
Bye.
inviting me.